Hello, good morning, and thank you for joining us on the conversation. I am Ajibola Ojashola.
My name is Joshua Murakio. It's a pleasure to join you here on this show. The last time I was here, Jibola's voice was very clear. This morning, it is Hosk. Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. I am Adebimpe Omotayo. As if you don't know why his voice is like that.
Why is his voice like that?
Leave Joshua.
He's not feeling too well.
What?
He's not feeling too well.
Oh, really?
He's under the weather.
I am so sorry. Which weather? Which weather is he under? Are you under
He's
the weather?
under the weather.
Yes, Josh, I am.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
We'll do something about that.
Okay, straight, we take our news point for today, and we're starting from Rivers. Tinubu to Fubara. Comply fully with Supreme Court verdict. And it has some riders. Please go back home and help to implement those recommendations. President urges Pandef. Governor Sim Fubara must fully comply with the judgment of the Supreme Court to keep the peace in Rivers State, the president declared yesterday. According to the president, the nation is governed by the rule of law, without which there will be no order of governance. President Bola Tinubu spoke during a meeting with the delegation of the Pan-Nigeria Delta Forum, PANDEF, at Aso Rock yesterday. Speaking specifically on the request by the group for intervention in the political logjam, the president put the matter directly on the lap of Fubara. He said, and I'm quoting the president, "Please go back home and help to implement those recommendations within the shortest possible time. I put the ball back in your court. Help him because privately and openly I intervened and counseled the governor. Only yesterday, I told him again to pursue the path of peace and stoop to conquer. This is a nation governed by the rule of law. I should not be here as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria if there was no rule of law. I have total confidence in the judiciary. Human beings make errors, but when the Supreme Court has spoken, that is it." Before the Apex Court judgment, President Bola Tinubu intervened and got the parties in the crisis to reach an agreement, but it was observed in the breach. Fubara and his supporters claimed that the agreement was skewed against them. Since the March 7 Apex Court's judgment, apart from asking council chairman whose election was declared invalid to vacate office, Fubara has repeatedly promised to comply. The president further said, "We reached an agreement, a written agreement, and both parties signed. Some leaders thought the governor was wrong to have signed it and didn't implement it. Where did we find ourselves today? I've given the situation enough time, enough thinking, enough consideration. We cannot falter. We will not. The people of Rivers State must not suffer for the democracy that we all put together. They will not. They must be protected, I assure." Yesterday in Port Harcourt, the governor again promised to implement the judgment. The House of Assembly, led by Martins Amewele, remained active as it had been since the judgment. It met with the Niger Delta Development Commission top officials. The PANDEF delegation was led yesterday by the Board of Trustees. And also in the delegation was PANDEF chairman. The president assured PANDEF leaders of the completion of ongoing projects of his administration in the southeast region. So, Mr. President, yesterday, asking the governor of Rivers State to fully comply with the Supreme Court judgment of March 7.
Personally, I think the chicken has finally come to roost, and it seems to be backpedaling after several months of pussyfooting on the things he ought to do or have done.
Yeah.
And I've listened to so many pundits. I've never seen so much sycophancy as I've seen in the past 1.5 years of the governorship of Sim Fubara in Rivers State. I've seen so many legal prostitutes. I've seen so many pundits that don't exist, that have turned like sanity on its head. I've seen a politician who wields all instrumentality of the institution of Rivers State, cannot kowtow just to win, cannot stoop to conquer. I mean, how many governors their state houses of assembly, who in, I've not had opportunity of saying this, who in his right senses will go and demolish a house of assembly, another institution? We have, in case, I don't know what he studied in school, but it is called executive, legislature, and judiciary. Those are three. So you take the instrumentality of your own office to another place. It's a complex that was recently built.
Yeah.
They said it has structural defects. Because somebody gave you that in your meeting, somebody said, hey, what is the best solution to do? Someone told you in that meeting that, hey, let us go to the place and let us demolish so that they won't say. It is the only, yes, and it is the only place where three people hold sway. They will pass a budget of trillions at the expense of another 27, and no one told you that, look, the path to justice or the path to fairness of ruling this state is like, look, find common ground, compromises. Now, he's back, because I heard him yesterday, and he was talking that I was going to fulfill all the recommendations
of the
Supreme Court.
He has no choice as it is, and you know, is the loser in this game, and I wonder what those who were deceiving Governor Fubara will be telling him now. Supreme Court is the final bus stop when it comes to the rule of law in Nigeria, and so whether you have options or not, you must fully comply with the judgment. They
were still telling him that he should wait for one high court that was saying
he was waiting for the certified true copy. He said he was waiting for the certified true copy.
He said they still want to know whether those lawmakers are...
you know, just like you have rightly said, Joshua, sycophancy on the part of those who were hailing Mr. Governor to continue to break the rule of law.
Yeah, exactly.
As it is now, you have no choice, and the Supreme Court has recognized those 27 members of the Rivers State House of Assembly as against the 3 that passed your own budget. So, if you like, those two to conquer. You will go before those lawmakers, present your budget, present your commissioners, and if they fail to approve, there's nothing you can do.
Because that's the law. That is the law. So I'm wondering, what has he been doing? Do you know how much he's going to use to rebuild that place?
The taxpayers' money.
Do you know the number of people he has paid, especially those days? This lawmaker from Imo State that comes to that place to just come and grandstand, and he holds press briefing on behalf of Rivers. You know what I'm talking about? He holds press. In fact, he was interpreting the ruling of the Supreme Court, and I'm saying that how many years? How old is he? He's less than 40. You know, and he's interpreting the Supreme. And I'm wondering, in this country, and TV stations gave him access. And I'm wondering, even journalists have contributed to what is happening in Rivers State.
Yes, and even the Commissioner for Information of Rivers State, the way and manner he was approaching this issue, I do not like it. It's like you're deceiving your principal, telling him that they're still in charge. In charge of what?
Okay, let's go to the next, the next story. This is another interesting one.
I don't think he's not interested in the Rivers matter.
Senator Natasha reports her suspension case against Akpabio to UN Inter-Parliamentary Union. I'd like to go through this story quickly because I think it's very interesting. It appears the controversy over the allegation by Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan against Senate President Godswill Akpabio and her suspension from the Red Chamber may not be getting off the news anytime soon. This is because the suspended Kogi senator on Tuesday took the case to a global stage. The Senate suspended the lawmaker for violation of the Senate rules days after she submitted a petition against Akpabio for sexual assault and other accusations. Claims the Senate president was strongly refuted. But at the Women in Parliament session held at the Inter-Parliamentary Union meeting at the United Nations in New York, Senator Natasha is seeking justice and intervention of the global democratic institution. The lawmaker is asking for justice over what she described as injustice meted out to her. Senator Natasha described her suspension from the Senate as illegal. I was suspended illegally because I submitted a petition for sexual harassment against the president of the Nigerian Senate. I thought that by submitting the petition, he would recuse himself and both of us would submit ourselves to the Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Public Petitions for a fair, transparent investigation. But unfortunately, I was silenced and I was suspended, she told the gathering. That means I'm here illegally, But I have no other place to go but to come here and speak to you because this is a bigger picture. This is a bigger picture. It depicts the crisis of women's political representation. My suspension is not just about me, it's about the systemic exclusion of women from political leadership in Nigeria. The Kogi lawmaker. After her speech, she expressed worry about her security. The Kogi Central lawmaker claimed there are indications that she may be held against her will in New York for speaking up on the issue at the global event by the powers that be from Nigeria. I have so many things to say, but this is not a conversation for today. I've expressed my thoughts about this in private, but I must say this one. I honor and respect women. I think they are not well represented in positions of authority in Nigeria.
Yeah.
I feel that we should give them more space. If there's any need for inclusion, women deserve to be included in government. Having said that, I think the way she's going about it is wrong. Before women start to come for me, having been suspended from the Nigerian Senate, no matter the reason why she was suspended, which some legal practitioners have said it is wrong in the first place, you can't suspend a senator who was voted for by the people of our constituents, Kogi Central. One of the things they said there is you cannot represent this Nigerian Senate at any official function.
So she spoke in what capacity?
So she went to...
As a woman.
As a woman.
Okay, as a woman.
Just as a woman.
So she went to our international event. We have not finished the ruckus.
At home.
At home. So she took it to... She now added a caveat. Said, look, I am afraid for my life. Don't forget that. So what she's saying about... Was she arrested here in Nigeria before she traveled? The DSS sold her passport before she traveled. Then you put... You know this... that's all my comment.
Okay, I'll make my comment.
I think our security...
but our security was guaranteed. She left the shores of this country. She took a flight, right? Nobody impeded her movement. So they will now arrest her in New York.
I think she was just trying.
So it's going to... No, I don't... Because people that are advising people in this country, they are very mean. Oh, that's the same thing they did. The same thing they did to Fubara.
Joshua.
She still has a court case pending, challenging this.
As a woman,
do you know that Senator Natasha has not taken the sexual harassment case to court? Do you know that? I'm sure you're aware.
Yeah.
What she took to court was the publication of the aid of Senator Akpabio.
Akpabio.
Not the sexual harassment. The sexual harassment petition is before the Nigerian Senate. And I'm sure people should...
Joshua, I think I want to look at it from another angle. Forget the issues that Senator Natasha raised at different fora. What is it about people from Kogi State? Yes.
Let's start from
their quality of leaders is amazing to me sometimes. We've had the likes of Senator Dino Melaye, and who was the former governor, Bello, and now it's Natasha. The kind of quality, or the quality of leaders that they elect in Kogi State is I don't know how to describe it, honestly. With due respect to people from Kogi State, but the quality of leaders that they are...
Because I have good friends from Kogi, especially they are very...
Are they politicians?
No. I have good friends from Kogi.
Elect somebody from Kogi and then you see the quality of leadership that they will bring on the table.
How about Natasha? What you are doing, I don't know, Josh, whether anybody has advised her that she has gone outside to wash her dirty linen. She's the one that grieved her. You can't beat a child and tell her not to cry. Okay. So I think she's crying, and hopefully, I pray that IPU will come and suspend Senator Akpabio. And
is that possible?
Let's take
she said she wants international institutions
that can happen. Nigeria is a sovereign state. It can't happen.
So why did you now go there now? Who advised her to go there now?
Why would nothing happen to Akpabio? Okay, church buildings cars raised in Lagos tanker explosion. An explosion rocked Otedola Bridge in Lagos yesterday evening, sparking a massive fire. The blast, which occurred at 8:08 p.m., involved a tanker loaded with petroleum products. The director of the Lagos State Fire and Rescue Service, Margaret Adesheye, disclosed that the fire spread to a church, an adjoining bungalow, and 4 vehicles. Eyewitnesses reported that the tanker, a 30-ton DAF gas truck with an unknown registration number, was navigating the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway when the explosion occurred. Panic-stricken motorists scrambled to escape the scene, with some making hasty U-turns, while others abandoned their vehicles in fear of being trapped in the inferno. But there is an update from LASEMA here in Lagos, and they have this preliminary report on this incident. Following distress calls to the 767-112 emergency toll-free lines at 8:10 p.m., the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency activated its emergency response plan from the Command and Control Center, ALAUSA. At 8:14, LASEMA's Tiger Response Team arrived to find a 30-ton DAF gas tanker overturned and engulfed in flames, spreading fire to nearby vehicles and houses. The casualty report has 2 adult male deceased, 3 adult males severely burned, 3 received immediate medical attention and were transported to hospitals. The actions taken by LASEMA, safety precautions were implemented, fire containment measures were established to prevent further spread, and search and rescue operations continued. The damage reports they have 12 vehicles affected, 8 tricycles destroyed, 1 building damaged. The current status is the recovered commodity has been handed over to the Lagos State Environmental Health Monitoring Unit. Victims are now receiving medical treatment, and fire extinguished by 10:02 p.m. last night. Rescue operations have been concluded. The responders were LASEMA Response Team, LASEMA Pre-Hospital Care Unit, Lagos State Fire and Rescue Service, Lagos State Traffic Management Authority, Nigerian Police Force, and of course, LASAM Bus. Kudos to Lagos State Emergency Management Authority. Yesterday, when this happened, even before this happened, there was an issue with, I think it was the same tanker that was trying to navigate its way inward the toll gate. That was around 2 or 3 yesterday afternoon, and then this happened later in the night. We regret the loss of the the people that lost their lives, and we hope those in the hospital will heal quickly.
Well, I think it's quite unfortunate that we've seen in the past 2 years, hundreds of Nigerians have lost their lives due to incidents and accidents like this. I'm talking about, we have petrol tanker fire incidents, we have gas incidents. Don't forget that of Ibadan. Don't forget the tanker incident in different parts of the southwest, north as well. Where in one incident about 100 and something people died in the north, and of course that informed the decision of the federal government that no tanker, 60,000-litre tanker, should ply any of our roads in Nigeria again. Having said that, I think it borders on safety and the precaution we have with some of these very combustible materials that we put on our roads. Michael. And the condition at which some of these articulated vehicles move in Nigeria. I'm so scared, especially for that Otedola Bridge. There should be some kind of integrity test done on that bridge. So many incidents and accidents on that particular bridge. And it's because, for one reason, it's because of the slope of the bridge. It gets to a point that the thing had to, if you are not moving at a particular pace or speed. There's every tendency that the tanker can just, especially when they go mad. But this one is even a gas. The bottom line is, in what condition, and we've talked about this over and over again. Now, except if you don't drive, sometimes when you see some of these articulated vehicles, you have your heart literally in your mouth. because you're driving, the prayer you're praying that the car in front of you has speed and not decide to take his permanent abode or movement beside the tanker so that it goes, so that you can speed past that. Because when you look at it physically, and you are not a VIO official that knows all the intricate details of the condition that a vehicle should be, you are put in a position that you begin to pray. Every time you're on the road, you begin to pray that you are not beside it. And that's what we should be doing now before they set out on the road. I don't know why we can't have our regulatory agencies monitor them. I cover transport for Lagos Television, and I know what FRSC is doing regarding the way we even load human beings in articulated vehicle. So sometimes when you hear that a tanker had or a lorry had an accident, you find that the human casualty is much more than the animals. Because they load people in there. So they stop them. What they do is, even from the park, they stop them from even traveling ab initio. I think they need to do that. I know they're also overwhelmed, but I think they need to go back to where these people load from the tank farms, from where they pick up this thing, and make sure that their vehicles are in good condition. I think that's the only way we can resolve or mitigate it or reduce this kind of unfortunate incidents.
The condition of those vehicles, like you said, Joshua, is always a suspect. And oftentimes, you see majority of them struggling with their brakes. And
there's this boy that will always run down immediately. They will go and shock it.
Will shock it.
What a dangerous assignment.
And when you see their tires sometimes, you marvel at the state of the tire or the quality of the tires on some of these
Some even don't have tires at all. You see the rim rolling. Tire
and then we have FRSC officials on our road. So what are they checking?
I can't answer that. No, I can't hold brief for them.
Okay, that's our news point this morning. We'll quickly go to X. And then earlier we mentioned Senator Natasha, Senate President, Senator Godswill Akpabio is also trending on X this morning. And of course, we know why.
I'm sure what she enjoys
is the attention.
I have not seen someone who has gotten to the Senate and enjoyed as much publicity. And guess what? She didn't start with this 10th senator. She came 6 months after. I think it was December after she won her case. You know, one guy was there, the court moved the person out of the...
Joshua, as much as I want to criticize Senator Natasha, the quality of leadership that Senator Godswill Akpabio has equally brought on board, for me, is also questionable. Sometimes he acts like the chamber of the Senate is for comedy. There was a time he carelessly spoke to the microphone, forgetting that the microphone was still on, that senators are going to receive an alert on their phone. And there was a time he said something, I think that was during the protests about bad governance in Nigeria. He said, we can continue to protest, they will continue to enjoy. So he's kind of Senate president for me as well.
But you have, those are gaffes now. Those are gaffes. You have that for everyone who is in political affairs.
Okay.
You can talk about Donald Trump as last week was talking about...
He forgot to off his microphone. What about the situation whereby he said, we can continue to protest, and you are there to serve the people?
No, but I think whatever he has said has not actually totally discountenanced or negated the actual work that they do in the Nigerian Senate in terms of laws, bills, and oversight functions. And I think moving forward, this conversation we should have it as to sexual harassment, what constitutes it. I'm sure the laws that we have in the Constitution, 1999 Constitution, even as amended, speaks expressly to some of these things. I think we also need to determine this thing and get it once and for all. That conversation needs to be had. I'm sure the Ethics and Privileges Committee of the Senate will look into it. So let's even know what will happen. Let's sort it out. This rigmarole and this back and forth doesn't really help us now.
I'm sure we're going to conclude everything in the shortest of time. So that's the Senate President.
No, let's because we have a woman here now. What? It's not a man affair. It's between what?
She's she for he.
Okay. I wanted to speak earlier, but it seems we're running out of time. But I'll just drop my own bit. I'm not in support of Senator Natasha. These are accusations without accusations on sexual harassment. It's just, by the way, and it's a word against Senate President Akpabio. She has said it. What proof do you have that he sexually harassed you? That's one side. The main issue, you erred on the floor of the Senate. It was obvious, and that wasn't her first time. I had seen another video where she was having private conversations with another senator, and the Senate President called her out, and she apologized.
Rubbed her hands and apologized.
Yes, in a very suggestive way. I thought she was even trying to harass the Senate President from what I saw, and I was like, okay, she has like will I say a trend of always flouting rules in the House, and she was looking for an alibi. That was when she brought in that sexual harassment case against the Senate President. The Senate President is not one of my favorites, but Senator Natasha.
I don't think women folk will like what you are saying. You are supposed to support her.
They don't have to like it.
Even though she doesn't have proof or she still hasn't presented it yet.
That's our view.
That's my view. Even from what she said, what transpired at the Senate President's house, we can both come here and enjoy ourselves. I thought that was his house, and his wife lived there with the children. Is that where he will still bring her?
No, there was this one at the guest.
Okay, was at the guest house.
There was one at the house, and there was another one at the guest.
Okay, and her husband was present, was close by, but he didn't hear the conversation.
No, she's going to present evidence.
She's going to present evidence. Okay, we're waiting for the evidence.
Let's leave everything till when she's going to present the evidence, and of course, the court will now decide whether she was harassed or not. So that's the Senate President.
The matter is still not in court.
It is not in court yet.
Sexual harassment.
Yes.
Yes, she hasn't presented it.
She's been talking about it.
It's not in court yet.
And
that's what is surprising to me. That one is not in court.
It's not in court.
The one before the ethics, this thing, she initially, that one was thrown out because it wasn't properly signed. I don't know why our aides,
I saw another
the one
video.
That they are paying,
I saw another video of
that they are not supposed to sign this.
Ireti Kingibe yesterday. I don't know if it was an old video.
No, yeah, she apologized. Even though she wasn't happy.
She wasn't happy. The Senate President asked her to apologize the first time. She said no, she wasn't going to apologize. And she now told the Senate President said, look, you're bringing trouble for yourself. And she said, okay, she was sorry. What did she do? She walked out on her fellow senators. She was rude to them, and she admitted it. All Senator Natasha had to do was just apologize.
And that's a woman that has more experience in terms of politics, and she's over 70, and of course people accused her of
not supporting.
All right, we'll see how things will play out in a couple of days. We'll be taking a very short break at this moment. When we come back, the conversation will continue.